What's up, everybody? Well, I got another FIREBAT mini PC gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna try out that Neptunia Sisters Vs Sisters. And the Steam Deck was still pretty playable, but it had some wonky things where it was dropping under 30 in the most weird areas. Now, the Allies did a much better job. I think there was only a couple spots at 1080p anyway where we dropped under 60. Where you could negate that by still leaving it on high and just dropping it down 900p. The graphics settings, maybe it was just a Steam Deck thing. Maybe I should have done my due diligence and checked. But on the Steam Deck, going from high to low did nothing whatsoever. Still got the same frames. Everything still looked the same. It's like they don't do anything. But resolution should still matter. So that's why I think if you turn that, they would get like 80 FPS basically the whole game and look basically no different. But that's just a suggestion. I would probably just play at 1080p high because it barely dropped under 60. It was mostly in like in and out of fights. If you do like everyone does their moves at once, it might drop down like 56 or something like that kind of thing. I don't care that much about that. Lots of games drop frames. Like shit, if you guys have ever played a game like PoE or Diablo, any of the Diablos, when you get a big mob of creatures, it doesn't matter how powerful your computer is, that shit tanks your FPS like crazy. So it might just be similar to that, even though there's not as much going on. Anyway, I think it's time to stop blabbing, and I think it's time to start gaming. So we had to do this one a little differently. I want to just do the same thing as the Allies, but this thing just cannot handle 1080p like at all. It's probably the VRAM, because I think the 680M and its processor should be more than adequate. It'd be a little slower than the Allies. But this thing's also plugged in versus them being on battery. All right, here we are in the game, and yeah, as you can tell, we're not even able to get 30 FPS. And this time's frame times are not because of a capture computer. It is not hooked up to a capture computer. Its weird frame times are because it's out of RAM, or I think it's out of VRAM, and I think it's trying to use the SSD as like a cache for it. Kind of like how computers of old, and they still do, but people just have so much RAM now, I don't think it really matters anymore. Page file. Back in the day, when you didn't have enough RAM, it would start using your hard drive, or later on SSDs, as kind of like pseudo-RAM. But you could tell when it did it, because obviously your hard drive and SSD is nowhere near as fast as RAM. So, anytime it has to access that, bad time. So I imagine it's even worse if you're using it as VRAM and RAM. This thing's like a console, it's all shared. That's why I'm surprised no one's just like basically figured out like a way to just take the console's motherboard, reverse engineer it, figure out what RAM's on it and all that. They can't copy like all the extra special stuff like the vector engines and all that shit. They've got special co-processors. You're not going to be able to get that shit to run on Windows. So now we're going to do 900p in standard quality. It looks like the quality settings actually do something on Windows. So that's good. They were not working for me on either of my Steam Deck. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's something on my Steam Decks. I don't know. But when I made this video, it did not work. But this one did. Anyway, though, let's get back to the game. And hopefully I remember what I was saying previously. But we shall see. All right, here we are back in the game. But, you know, it'd be kind of cool to take like a PS5 or Xbox Series X, take out its stuff, reverse engineer it, and then just like make it a really cheap Windows thing, kind of like my FIREBAT mini PC. Obviously, probably a little more expensive. And that's the problem, though. I think it would be more expensive than the console, and then why would anybody do that when they just go buy the console? I mean, unless you want the PC freedoms. PCs aren't just about raw performance. I mean, obviously, look at what we're on here, but with this thing, you got access to more games. I mean, yeah, you can't play them fancy, but most of the time, unless you have a PS5 Pro or a Series X, you're not going to be having really fancy graphics either. And even both of those can have some fails. They're not miracle workers. Optimization only goes so far. Unfortunately, now they're trying to push really crazy they're trying to push ray tracing and all sorts of other stuff, and that's CPU dependent. People don't seem to realize that. And unfortunately, that little Zen processor in there isn't going to do a good job. Now, the Pro, anyway, has some RDNA 4 ray tracing shit in it, so it's actually quite a bit decent in the ray tracing department, but it'll always be held back by that old Zen 2 processor, unfortunately. But something's got to give, and at least it's nothing anywhere near as bad as the abortion that is the freaking Jaguar. I will say, I don't care if they use that Zen 2 thing for like 20 years, it'll still be better than the freaking, what do you call it, Jaguar cores. Those things held back gaming so much. I think that's where most of the loathing happened. I mean, I hated the restrictiveness of consoles and stuff my whole life, but I still didn't mind gaming on them that much. Right up until we got to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, both having the same Jaguar stuff, I'm like, holy shit. this is so much farther behind PC than like ever. Before, you'd get like a 360, and unless you had a top-of-the-line computer, you couldn't beat that thing. It looked great. But then, once you got to the freaking PS4 era, it's like, dude, you can get like a mid-range computer. Yeah, it'll be a little more expensive, but you can get a mid-range computer and look better than this, get better frame rates. Like, what the fuck? This is terrible. And then the load times with the terrible hard drives, I was like, nope. That's when I was like, I don't even know. Besides for like when my friends come over, I just didn't really play consoles much. Or unless there was an exclusive I just had to play. So for my friends and for exclusives, I'll always have some consoles lying around, but I almost never use them. Even the Pro, I was like gonna use it, but then all the games I bought besides one came out on PC, so I was like, well, I'd rather play on my 4090. And yeah, I got Stellar Blade and Rebirth, and then both of them, well, Stellar Blade got announced, not out yet, but then Rebirth came out like 2 weeks later. I was like, son of a bitch. I could have saved like a bunch of money and just gotten Gran Turismo 7. I don't think that's coming out on PC anytime soon, if at all. But we shall see. That one I would love to play on something a little more potent. Now, the PS5 Pro does an alright job at it, for sure. But like I said in my other videos, only if you have, like, a fucking $4,000 to $6,000 plus TV and this, that, and the other thing on normal TVs that normal people would have, I don't think you'd notice that big of a difference. Like, kind of take my example. For, I got that FIREBAT mini PC, and I have that small form factor PC. Now, the small form factor PC is much more powerful, and it can do much better graphics, but on that cheap-ass TV, it doesn't look that much better. Not for how much the cost difference is, anyway. But you can still tell a difference, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be as crazy as going on like an OLED or something. Alright, so now we're going to finish up with some 720p low, which definitely gets you the best performance on this thing. 900p medium is playable, but it still wasn't the most pleasant experience. It still was more pleasant than basically the Steam Deck was in a lot of ways, but I would just go with this, unfortunately. This gets you the best. And you guys know me, I like as many FPS as I can get. Alright, here we go. Let's see, where are we going? We're going that way? Alright. So, see, now we can get like 60 FPS. It still has its drops, but so did the other systems. Alright. And I'm not gonna lie, I should have just gone on the warp thing, but I did not read that shit. Most of the time I just skip through those really fast so I'm not boring you guys reading. But then unfortunately it has the bad effect of not knowing what the fuck to do. So, hey, we got a top hat. Got my top hat and cane and a pocket full of miracles. No idea where the fuck I got that from, but there you go. You can just have some random stoner music. Probably got it from some TV show. I've watched so much Family Guy, Cleveland Show, American Dad, and all that shit. And Simpsons and stuff so much that I can basically replay whole episodes in my head basically flawlessly. And my friends always yelled at me like, dude, if you can do that shit, why the fuck don't you put it into something more useful? They're like, Probably should, though. If I could put all that effort into, like, I don't know, like being better at math, that would probably be a lot more useful, you know? I'm trying to do this chain thing a lot more. A lot of these games I just use one character and never change and never do anything, but it's fun to try out all the different characters. You got a mage and a ranged, and then a melee. We got a pretty good team here. I think the mage can even heal. She just has to get her special. Oh yeah, save. Always nice to be able to save.
組みを解明すればおのずと発生源がわかるかと思います。奇襲成功。そのためにモンスターをたくさん倒していかないとだね。女神候補生の皆さんがいてとても心強いです。
Alright, let us move on along. So now, some camera recorded gameplay. So much grass. Ooh, chest. Right? Yeah. Hey, some more healing grass. So, got back the one I just used. Hell yeah. So, you can get damn playable FPS on this thing, too. Ah, he got me first and saw me anyway, so... whatever. Oh, that's right, I'm downloading some of Steam. I'm like, what the heck? I didn't get an achievement. What the heck is this thing beeping about? Oh, nope, I'm going the right way this way. Gotta keep checking that. I have a nasty habit of going the wrong way. I'm basically, what's his name? Zoro from One Piece. They're like, alright, go right over there, just go straight. Immediately turn around and go the opposite way. What I do in games all the time. No idea why. Alright, I think we knocked his ass out. Alright, if I haven't been this way or I would have broken the crates. Oh, that looks like a warp thing. What else is this way then? before I go over there. Or is that a dragon? Ah. Okay, yeah, he's probably gonna kick our ass. There we go. We got him with that at least. Alright, no, never mind. We kicked his ass. Now, if I hadn't been fighting lots of other stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. Alright, what else do we got around here? It's just explore time. Ooh, there's a chest. He already saw me. There's no point in trying to hit him. I don't think it matters if they see you. You have to do it before they see you. Could be wrong on that, but that's what my understanding is. Alright, let's go get this chest. Oh, and we can't go any further that way. So I guess we'll go out here and go left. Seems to be the correct thing to do in this situation. I had the wrong button. Alright, perfect timing. Well, actually, we'll kill him real quick first. And then we'll go save, and I think we'll wrap up and finish up this level, hopefully when we get to the small form factor PC, and then that's where we'll stop on this game. I don't see the point in playing this on everything. That's just a little ridiculous. Obviously, unless somebody wants to see me play it on some other stuff, I definitely don't mind. But there's so many other games I could be doing, you know? Hope I'm on other stuff. There we go. Got him. Now we can finish you off. Alright, and with that, let's go wrap this video on up.
Well, alright guys,
that is a wrap for Neptunia Sisters versus Sisters, and definitely not very playable at 1080p high. I can tell you that. That was a horrible experience. I figured it might be a little bit worse than the other ones, but my god, it was terrible. Now luckily, as soon as you go down to 900p in medium, and it seems like the graphics settings actually work on Windows, unlike on the Steam Decks. And who knows, maybe it was just my Steam Decks being wonky, but it didn't seem like they did anything when I changed. Maybe the resolution is just too low to perceive a difference. That could be too, but it sure looked like it did not do anything, and it didn't change any FPS, so it made it seem like it was not doing graphics settings properly. It was just stuck on the default settings, and that's what you get, it sure seemed like. But again, that could just be a my problem, or somehow maybe even though I know I hit save settings, maybe I hit back or something like that and just backed out and went right back to high. Who knows? Just throwing out different reasons why that could be happening out there, that is all. But you can easily get a playable experience on here. How you can even almost get a 60 FPS all the time experience on here, but that still has some drops, and we weren't recording, so we can't blame OBS this time. In fact, it was completely closed. It wasn't even up in the background. I always close it when I'm done. In any case though, now we can go wrap this up, and I can go move on to the small form factor PC, and hopefully we can beat that area at least I was in before we get to the end, because like I said during the screen recording game, I don't think we should be playing this on everything. It's a little too easy to run still. A little wonky on some systems, but still too easy to run to do all the different computers, you know? Anyway, that is all for this particular video, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.